No help is coming. This is the way things are now, and you need to just accept that. You are stuck. No power. Low end of the totem pole. With some asshole boss. Just like I was. Although I'm betting I am a much nicer boss than you ever would have been. Except for maybe this part.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum podcast. I'm Ryan from coldsploitation.com, and I'm joined with my co-host Mark.
How's it going?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well, I think. This time around, we decided that we were actually going to go to the movie theaters and see a movie, which we don't generally do, which was nice. I haven't been to the movies, I think, since the last time we went to go see a movie for the podcast. I don't even remember what that was, but
I know you did last summer.
Oh, that's right. That's no wonder I blocked it out.
Yeah, see, I saved the stubs. I have like all my stubs since like 2006.
You're the historian.
You know. So as I was putting in my little chest of movie tickets, that was the one right beneath it. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that. Blocked it out of my memory. Yeah, we went to the movies. It was like a Monday matinee show, like 4 o'clock. There was no one there. And this was
the best.
This movie is one that just released too. I mean, it's not like this movie's been out for a few weeks or anything like that. It just came out. It was opening weekend, and then we saw it on Monday, and there was just no one there. I think there was another 2 people behind us in the theater. So, which is not uncommon for our little theater. We can't speak for big theaters around the area, but for our little theater, it's sadly becoming more and more common that people are just not showing up to the theater to see movies. But it's nice for the people that do go, because you get basically your own little theater all to yourself. So it's very, very, very nice and fun, and you can pretend like you're the old guys in the Muppets.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
They're just, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for this episode, we wanted to see this movie because, again, we have covered a couple other Sam Raimi movies in the past. One? I think maybe we've only done one. No, we've done Army of Darkness as well. I forgot. We've done Army of Darkness, and
Lord.
we did Doctor Strange too. And I think those are the 2 Sam Raimi movies that we've done. Surprising, like we haven't gotten to The Evil Dead or anything like that.
We've done the better ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Drag Me to Hell. We haven't watched that either. So interesting. But anyway, we wanted to check out Sam's new movie. He doesn't come around a lot, right? He hasn't been working on a lot of movies recently.
It's been 4 years since Dr. Strangelove.
You keep doing that. You do that a lot, actually. You're doing this Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove and the multi-universe of man.
Yeah. Has it been 4 years already since that released?
Yeah, it has, and I was really surprised by that, because when I was like this film for me wasn't on my radar at all, because I didn't even know about it until you said something about it, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then checking Sam's filmography again real quick, and I was like, holy shit, it's been 4 years since Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Oh god. Ugh. It feels like that was just yesterday.
I know, that's surprising. I didn't realize it, but I mean, there has been a slew of Marvel movies that have come out, so I guess it makes sense. You just can't keep up anymore. I can't keep up, even though I know that there's been kind of a pause on some of them. I'm just way, way behind where I don't even really care to catch up anymore. For Raimi's filmography, again, the man is really weird about how and when he takes on movies. I don't really know what goes on in his head when he's just like signs on for a movie. Seems like really hit or miss. I don't know if he's just, every now and then he goes to his agent and he's like, yeah, I'll take another one. And then he just grabs something off of the white list of things that are like, yes, we'd like to make it at some point, but not sure when or who will take it. And they just give it to Sam and they're like, here.
I think it's more that Ted and Ivan are like, hey, Sam, we're out of money. Can you?
Supporting the Raimi clan.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'd like to know what goes through his head when he just, decides, or maybe he just seems like he just really resonates with a script, and he's just like sitting around, like, because I do know that there's this, this list of scripts that are, people put on and they like kind of grade them, and they're like, yes, this is gonna be a good one. We're just not sure when we're gonna make it, and just goes on to the list, and it's greenlit for somebody to take. And so maybe Raimi is just sitting around and looking at that list and reading the scripts, and then eventually he finds one that really resonates. I mean, I'm not saying that about Doctor Strange, of course. Like, Doctor Strange was not a script just sitting around on a list. That was Marvel probably optioning it to Raimi. But for anything else like this film, like, just where did this come from? Why did Raimi take it? Not really sure. I don't know, like, what specifically stuck out for him about this movie. Maybe he's a big Survivor fan. I don't know. Maybe that's, maybe that was the thing.
That's what it was,
Yeah.
know. Him and Bruce had a falling off because Bruce is more of a Big Brother guy,
Yeah, either that or CB. It is the 50th anniversary of the Survivor, not literally anniversary in that they haven't been on 50 years, of course. But 50 seasons of the show, which in itself is like, what? How?
It's ridiculous.
It's been like 20 something years and you've already ripped out 50 seasons.
I know. Well, that's the thing that's like so awful about, reality TV. It's like you get 4 seasons like in a year and you're like why?
Gotta feel bad for Jeff Probst. Actually, you probably don't feel that bad. He's basically just spending his days in like some sort of resort on islands, and then every now and then makes it look like he's a little bit haggard. Like they say, hey, Jeff, don't shave as much. Don't trim it up.
Gets paid like probably $5 million a year just, to be like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
Go.
Watch a couple people throw up because they ate some bugs and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, maybe Raimi is a big Survivor fan, and it's the 50th anniversary. CBS called him up and said, hey, you want to make this movie for the 50th anniversary or 50th season? We'll make it worth your while. I don't know. Those are all just speculations. But what we are covering for today's episode is the new film that just released from Sam Raimi called Send Help, with Rachel McAdams and some other douchebag looking dude. A guy that's literally there to look like a frat bro dude.
Just be a jerk off.
I'm just playing. It's Dylan O'Brien. I don't really know this guy very well. I did see that he's been in a few things like the Maze Runner trilogy. Never saw that. Never really resonated with me. So I haven't seen that. Also see that he was in like the Teen Wolf TV series that they did for MTV, which I watched one episode and I was like, no. That's just what I said. After I watched it and finished the episode, I said, no. And then I never went back to it. So I don't recognize him from that either. But, yeah, those are main 2 people. Like, this movie, it has a couple other people in it, but, because it is sort of a survival film, it's really only got those 2 people.
All right, so I didn't know this was the thing. I'm looking at, like, Survivor, and apparently they started giving out cars at some point. What shitty cars? Like, hey, you're on Survivor Australian Outback. Congratulations, Colby Donaldson. You win a Pontiac Aztek.
Oh, like in the reward challenges and things like that? They started giving out cars? Sure.
Yeah. You win a Chevy Avalanche. You win a Saturn Ion. Saturn View. Like, Good Lord.
Again, I think that's
that's why Walter White and it's all tied together. He's the one that won that fucking, mint green Pontiac Aztek, and
yeah. I think it's just whatever CBS is getting partnered with at any given time. And they get together and they just say, all right, we'll give away one of these shitbag cars. And
as Detroit is burning and falling apart, they're like, listen, we got CBS is helping GM offload all their fucking.
Pretty much.
Oh, God.
So you said you really didn't have any idea about Send Help, right?
No.
And I will say that it was a bit of guerrilla marketing because it really flew under, I think, everybody's radar. I just happened to be, I think I was tuning in to either a basketball game or like the football game, and I happened to see a trailer for it that came out, but I really hadn't heard anything else about the movie. It's possible, again, I don't watch like television, so no cable TV for me really besides like sports. So I don't see commercials or trailers or anything like that play on TV, but I normally hear about stuff through other means, through the internet, and I really didn't hear anything about it until very late right before it was going to release. So it was very, very hidden. I don't know about it for anybody else, but I didn't see too much about it.
Yeah,
I did happen to see it. Oh yeah,
it was literally like after you said something, it's when I started getting every now and then a trailer on Facebook of for a video of like the new Sam Raimi film Send Help getting rave reviews.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't worth their while to try to promote it until later on. I don't know. But whatever the case, when I saw that it was coming out, I said, you know what? New Sam Raimi movie kind of seems interesting. Rachel McAdams. Let's check it out. Can't be too awful bad. So that's why that's kind of the whole idea behind it. Again, it wasn't something like we had super high expectations or anything like that. Just thought it looked interesting from Raimi. So here we are. All right, let's take a break real quick to talk about the people we got on the show before we go directly deep diving into Send Help. I'll let you take it. What'd you pick up for us?
So after taking the piss out of Rob Schneider's Tears of the Left whiskey, I made it my goal to go out and find some and use stolen money to buy it because I will not do it on my own. I'm just kidding. I wish so.
No.
Try. No. No. Well, as you know, if you are a tenured listener to this show, we're big Genesee Brewery fans around here. And though we haven't been sponsored by them yet, we just like plugging the product.
It's true.
And they have a new specialty out. New Genesee specialty. It's new in the sense that it's got a new can, but it's been released a couple of times. I think the last time being like 2017, 2018.
Yeah, I was just actually looking up the last time I checked into it, which I believe was in 2020. It was 2020.
So, they've done like a couple of different like takes on cream ale. They're Jenny Cream Ale is what they're really known for because it's one of the very few original American styles, and it's a delightful cheap beer. A decade ago, they did a cream ale variety pack, which was really good. It had dry hopped mosaic cream ale, an imperial cream ale, and an orange honey cream ale. And the dry hop mosaic was really good, and so was the orange honey imperial. But I like the fact that they take this, unique American beer that they're known for and do every now and then go into doing something unique with it.
Sure.
They've done before also a lemon strawberry cream ale. That was pretty good. That was also like a decade ago. It was like, like the lemon strawberry taste of like your grandmother's like strawberry candies that you'd find stuck under like a mattress when you were a kid,
Mm-hmm.
And another one that they've done before and that was released probably around the same time is just a regular old dry hop cream ale. And that's what's back now.
They don't specify what hop, I don't think.
No, not like, unlike the dry hop mosaic, they don't say what the hop is. On the website, it just says bright modern hops.
Mm-hmm.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad brew. Little, I think, misplaced on the release schedule. Maybe it's just because it's been, below freezing for 2 months up here in upstate New York. That bright hopness, I'm not really appreciating as much as I probably would in like the mid-spring.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have like a pretty big like hop profile and presence. It's like a mix of like I'd say like a mosaic and like a Nelson. It's got like a pininess to it, but also a rosininess to it.
Mm.
For a cream ale, they've shrunk it down. It's not like 5.5%. They made it more sessionable, so the body's a lot more thin, easier to go. It's not bad. I just think I'd appreciate it better if it was released in the spring, closer to summer, where, you'd be able to appreciate it a bit more. It's not bad. I'd say give it a shot. But I'm not like enamored with it, I'd say.
Mm. Yeah, did we have this on the show before?
I think we did. I think we did when it came out.
Once before on the show when we had it on there before. I remember liking it then, and I like it now. I think it's really tasty. It's a sessionable ale with, a little bit of hop bitterness to it that pairs with the cream ale kind of like light-bodied taste that I think works really well for this. Again, it's similar in style to like what you might expect from a pale ale at times. Probably a little bit less hopped than a general pale ale. But I think they do a really good job of managing the taste of the cream ale with this little dry hopped element to it that gives it, like a kind of unique blend between their cream ale and their, more IPA or pale ale styles. I like it. I think that they've done a good job with it. I'm glad they brought it back. I think it's hard to believe that it's already been 5 years since we had it the last time, but having it now again, I think it's a really solid beer, and I like the fact that they keep bringing these popular styles back again and again. They take them away for a little while. They don't brew them all the time, but they bring them back, and it's fun to kind of relive that experience of having it, when it's not around a whole lot. So I think it's pretty good. Definitely check this one out. I don't think they're that expensive either for a 12-pack. They're not.
It was $12.49 a 12-pack.
So not bad at all, really, considering. So really, again, sessionable. Might go through a couple, but I think they've done a good job with these.
Closest comparison I can make is like a session IPA or just because it's got like the same kind of characteristics, but with a more of a slight cream ale nuance. And like the thing about it that, like, I mean, again, I think it is good. I do appreciate it. I think I would more because I think I'm also starting to come down with a cold, but because my nose is like starting to get stuffy. But
oh boy,
yeah, I know. Sorry, I can't be a plague bringer. But like when it's been like I said, decades since I hit like the dry hop mosaic one. I think the fact that like you like one specific hop, you got that, and then an actual like 6.5% like cream ale to kind of give it a whole body. In my head at least. Maybe if I had it now again, wouldn't feel the same. But of that being like, oh, that's that was so damn good. I even still have the can for that one. So
there you go.
In my Jenny paraphernalia. But
all right. Well, let's talk about send help. Are we giving help, or do we need to send help for Raimi here? Does he need some help? So I guess the first things first here is to talk about the fact that again, this movie, like I said, it only really has two people in it, Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. They're the two main characters, because the ultimate crux of this movie is that they crash land on an island and they're stranded there, sort of like a Castaway sort of thing, right? Like, but in Castaway, Tom Hanks only has Wilson at his disposal, and so it's really just Tom Hanks himself. In this movie, at least there's two people to share the brunt of the frustrations. But the movie starts out by setting up Rachel McAdams' character as sort of like this hardworking, very successful in she's really good at her job, but the actual merits of her being very good at her job are not seen by the rest of the people that work in her office, and so Dylan O'Brien becomes her boss. His name is Bradley Preston. So if you didn't know you had a douchebag on your hands, his name is Bradley. Okay, so
right up there, right up there.
I mean, his name is Bradley. He likes golf. The stereotypes are rife throughout this movie of just what kind of person you can expect from him.
Is this, please tell me, I hope to God it's not becoming a thing that these kids coming out of college with business degrees saw Wolf of Wall Street and thought that was the truth, or saw just Wall Street in general, the 1980s, greed is good, get-go, and was like, yeah, I got to bring that look back,
we're going to do we're going to do it.
Yeah, look, I mean, I saw Christian Bale in American Psycho. That's right, man. Suspenders, hair, slick back like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, so that's the whole idea. And I think, again, too, the stereotype is sort of the point, right? Especially at the beginning, of course, Rachel McAdams' character is named Linda. You've got, they're from both sides of things. They're playing off of this idea of the stereotype of Linda being, the office worker, kind of a loner type, very, kind of standoffish and strange to her coworkers. They, somehow make Rachel McAdams look very plain and frumpy looking.
This all it takes is a pair of glasses.
I like it's the pair of glasses. She doesn't wear makeup, and then not only that, but I really like the fact that in the office they show she's wearing this really oversized looking dress that's tucked into her. She got her shirt tucked in, or a blouse tucked in, and it does look like a very large skirt that she's wearing. So all of that gives the appearance of Rachel McAdams being frumpy and people don't like her. And I will say too, I completely understand Bradley's disgust with tuna salad on her lip, and then on that, and accidentally ends up being on his hand. I would probably be the same way. I would definitely be like, "What is that? Is that tuna? I hate tuna." Because I can understand.
Listen, I feel bad, but at the same time, you know what you shouldn't be eating in any setting?
Tuna.
Well, fish in general.
It's true. It's true. And he brings up a good point later on. He's like, well, listen, the office cubicle isn't for eating your lunch, especially when you see her, how she's she puts the sandwich in her drawer and she's smooshing it around in her drawer and stuff. Okay, I kind of agree with him there. He's a douchebag boss, but I gotta give it to him there.
Hold on. Workers' rights here. Eat at your fucking desk if you want to, okay? Just don't have it be fish. Okay? This whole it's for the break room. You know what? I go to take a shit. It's on the pay. Getting paid to shit. If I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna do most of my eating on your time.
It's true. Yeah,
especially if she's the one that's running the books around there and running laps around all these assholes. I'd be like, listen here, like, hey, I'm doing this, not even looking at my goddamn tuna sandwich. Shut the hell up and go away.
that is definitely a concern, though, is the tuna. I can understand why it's a problem. So, but anyways, yes, they make her, out to be very frumpy, unliked at work, and she doesn't get the promotion that she's been looking for, which is pretty crazy, actually. She's going to be vice president of the company.
Well, there's like 7 of them. It's a bit.
Yeah, I know.
So it's no
small step here. It's.
But that's the thing though, because we see that like the father, apparently promised her the promotion. So why the hell didn't he just promote her then? Yeah. Was he just being nice? Was he like...
He was waiting to die.
For his son to do it?
He had to promise it and then just had to die instead of giving the promotion. Yeah, so the whole idea here that sets it up is that she didn't get the promotion, but so she goes to Bradley and she basically says, like, why didn't you give it to me? And he says, prove that you're worthy of it. So come with us on this trip. We're going to Bangkok to do this gobbledygook corporate lingo thing that they're going to be doing. I don't even know what the office does really. It's it's sort of that corporate jargony. We kind of work in finance or something. I don't know what we do. Like it's how
you got to go and close you got to go and close the account.
Yeah.
What are you talking
Movies love to do this. They love to say like either finance lingo or something and make it sound like this company does something of value when you're like, I don't know what this company does at all. What are they doing? No one knows.
What's worse, technobabble or like, generic corporate slop?
Yeah, it's both. I mean, both movies do this a lot. They just love to just make up shit about the company without having to actually give any credit or value to the company. There's something about setting up like spinning up a new LLC for the company so that they don't have to file a tax. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Long story short.
Listen. All you're doing is like maybe like are the writers doing a nice Marxist critique of, corporations and capital not generating anything of use?
Maybe.
It's all just a bunch of bullshit?
I feel like it was just more lazy. They didn't want to give us any actual details on it. But. So they're going to Bangkok. It sets you up for there's going to be a long ass plane ride. And that's where we get, the first part of this survival story, which is we find out Linda loves Survivor. She tried out for Survivor. She made an audition tape and everybody starts laughing at it. That happens to happen on the plane, where it shows like how good she might be at Survivor because she practices all the time. And then the plane crashes. And it's a pretty exciting plane crash sequence. Unfortunately, some people need to take the CGI keys away from Raimi because
I don't think it's his fault though.
I don't know.
I mean, we'll talk about it more when we get more into the film. But I mean, like, yeah, it's a nice bit. It's got like that Final Destination-esque like tension and drama. Mm-hmm. With some like, everyone being douchebags and like, it's like, gods, smiting these assholes.
Survival of the fittest sort of things where even in their dying moments, they like are the worst people imaginable.
Yeah.
There's no
like, so like the guy just can't fly out, after like she saves the one guy and then he's like, give me your fucking seat. And she's like, no. And he's trying to rip her out of the seat. And then like, she has to kick him out. No, that's not good enough. No. He's got to get his tie also stuck in, and he's like smashing and getting grounded up onto the side, So like that's awesome. Like, yeah, but like the CGI for the effects and stuff is like, whew.
It's kind of interesting. I can't believe that in 2026 we're having such issue with some of the very obviously poor CGI choices. Because if you watch some older movies, even from the 2000s, 2010s, there was a point where CGI was actually doing some pretty good work. Not over the top unrealistic like we get from this movie. And I don't know. I just feel like, again, like I said, I think that it goes a little bit overboard in the way that it utilizes some of that CGI that's super unnecessary. The other thing that Raimi's been doing in his later output, even in stuff like Drag Me to Hell, which I think was, at this point almost 20 years ago, I think it came out in like 2009, is using a lot of CGI blood, which we see a lot in this movie too, or, just CGI spew effects. Because one thing that is really fun about Raimi's movies is that he's not afraid to do some of these more gross out antics, like people bleeding on each other, vomiting on each other, which we do get a nice sequence in this movie of vomiting, that occurs. But the problem is that a lot of it is done very questionable CGI elements, right? Like, and
it wouldn't make like a PS3 game.
And I think the biggest problem that I have with that is that it's a lot of times it feels really unnecessary. It doesn't feel like it needs to be a CGI bloodshot, or a spew effect. It could be real. It doesn't need to be like that. And yes, it does in sort of add an additional amount of absurdist comedy, but at the same time, I think it would be a little bit more fun and gross out if it was actually looking like it was real. No offense, but and while I do think those sequences are fun, I can't help but wonder, like, why did we get to these like CGI blood fountains? Why can't we just do it the practical way in a lot of these scenarios?
You would almost think at this point it'd be even cheaper to do it like practical.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, this film has a lot of oversaturated use of CGI that it didn't need and could practical effects would have done a billion times better. Now, also, too, I didn't realize it until I saw the IMDb poster for this thing. There were a lot of shots in this film where I'm like, this feels like somebody shot this for 3D. And it's also in 3D, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it's like,
that's such a weird thing now, too.
I know, because no one does a 3D. It's not the late 2000s,
Yeah, that is actually pretty bizarre. And like you said, sometimes it feels 3D, but sometimes I can imagine that this film is really not that amazing in 3D. I don't know. Like you said, there's a couple of scenarios where
like the boar's head, flying like that,
a couple, but not like, I guess I can see, like, I just saw in the trailer too of like the jet engine shooting out towards the screen. But other than that, I feel like this would be a really sort of unremarkable 3D movie. It definitely wouldn't show, especially not like in the 2000s where when you were watching movies that were made to be 3D, it was very obvious, like, here comes a fire poker to your face because we can, or I don't know. I feel like it may not be as interesting in 3D as it would seem. And that's just a weird thing too. I didn't realize it was supposed to be 3D either. It's crazy.
Which is funny because, like I said, I never would have thought of like I said, there's some shots that are like that, but I'm like, no one's made like a 3D film in like 20 years.
I know.
Like who would go through be bothered to do that now?
Yeah.
At least say studios aren't trying to bring that back.
So I guess that brings us to when they actually have the plane crash and they wash up on shore and they're in some sort of like unnamed Asian island. And they're stranded. And we find out very quickly that Rachel McAdams' character is like the ultimate survivor contestant because she would have dominated. And this is always something that I've wondered about when people go on Survivor too, is like a lot of times it feels like people go on Survivor, at least in the earlier seasons, and they were like extremely unequipped for living on an island. They were like, did not know how to light a fire, did not know how to, make basic shelter. And you would think that those, if you're going, you're going on Survivor, those are the things like you spend for your next 3 months before you're shooting, trying to learn, right? Like you would actually do the research. But in the earlier seasons of Survivor, it was pretty clear that a lot of people just went on and they were pretty unprepared for the actual survival elements that they would need to have. Well, in this movie, Rachel McAdams, she definitely has done her research. She knows how to make fire. She knows how to make shelter. And it's actually pretty cool. The idea is that it takes this sort of meek woman from The Office who, in a lot of ways, doesn't speak up, kind of shy. And it puts her in an island area where she is the boss. She knows exactly what to do. And her boss, also stranded on the island, has no idea how to survive in the wild. And, that's a statement in itself right there. This is kind of the same idea that you were just talking about, the Marxist critique of, like, what does corporate bring to, is it just all, not even of substance? And so I think that critique does occur in this movie to some extent. And that seems like a Raimi sort of critique as well. It's something that I think that he brings to a lot of his films, sort of that messaging of the underdog. And for a large portion of Send Help, that is the message, is that Rachel McAdams knows what she's doing, and Dylan O'Brien's character has no idea, and they must work together, but really the only person who has any intimate knowledge and will keep everybody alive is Linda. So what do you think about all that? Like the survival elements of this movie, which are pretty much, good hour and change of the movie is kind of like devoted to just survival.
Yeah. Yeah, out of its 2-hour runtime, just about. It's that is most of the film. I think it's fine. It's I do think it's nice that like the film is like just set basically on the island. Gives it like a feeling of like, claustrophobia and being stranded and alone. It's nice seeing like all of like the things Rachel's able to do to survive, like, building the shelter, how she's able to get, water, how she gets like food and this and that. Like that's cool. I do think at times the whole going back and forth between the two stretches the second act out quite a bit. That makes it unnecessary. Like there's like 4 different times where Bradley goes from like, I'm not doing that, to okay, I'll do whatever, I'll do that. I don't know what I'm doing, to the same. It's like a Carol thing. It's like he's just repeating. So
yes, and I definitely would agree that I feel like it is quite long-winded in the way that it shows the survival elements. And yes, like you said, the back and forth exchange between the two, where it's like Bradley is sort of questioning whether he needs Linda, right? Because he finds her annoying, and so he goes back and forth and tries to survive on his own. It doesn't work. He goes back to Linda, and that kind of is the pattern over and over again. And I think, to a certain extent, that long approach to it is not really needed, because I feel like, again, this movie is really working on stereotypes in a big way. And again, that's not necessarily a critique against it. Part of this is about the stereotype. It's meant to be stereotypical, where you then see a different side of the character. But at the same time, I don't know that we needed all of that amount of time spent. It has some good sequences. The boar sequence is pretty cool. Tracking down and killing the boar. CGI heavy, but cool. And, I think it's fun to see Rachel McAdams in sort of this power role. And, later on, there are some great sequences, too, where she really does assume the power role when she feels she has to, after she's poisoned, stuff like that. But at the same time, I do feel like it goes on too long. I didn't appreciate how long the survival elements were, because I do feel like it was very derivative of stuff we've seen before. If you watch Survivor, you've seen this stuff. If you've seen Castaway, it feels like basically another recap of what he does in Castaway.
It's a strange amalgamation of like Misery and Castaway.
Yeah.
I think again, because to hammer in like the point, like Bradley's really a fucking douchebag. It's like after, you know, he's been out for like a day and a half, she's built the shelter, got the water and all this, like to make him, you know, an irredeemable piece of shit. He's like, listen here, you dumb bitch. This is what we're going to do. I'm your boss. You know, you're not going to, you know, and to hammer home, you know, like this guy's an asshole. And when he does that and you see her walk off and then leave him stranded for a day, and like, so he like, you know, is like, when we come back to him, he's like near death because he's been sitting out, you know,
in the sun
with no water. Like, okay, that was pretty badass and cool and stuff, but like, it just like, by the time like they're like done with the whole, like he tries escaping in the raft, like fine, you know, her threatening him afterwards, oh, you know, cool. But I think a problem I have with the film is her motive. Like, is she wanting to stay on the island because she likes it? Is she wanting to stay on the island because she's in power finally, and it's a trip? You know, is it because is it because of her schoolgirl crush that she has on him?
Right.
Like, the film's not very, or is it because she's just a sociopath too? Because when she's telling that story about how she killed her husband, you know, she was married to somebody and he was an abusive drunk, and she got him killed because after him, like, you know, taking his keys away, and, you know, eventually she said, fine, take the keys and go, and he died. I don't believe that story. I don't think it happened. I think it was just some made up bullshit she told them. Because by that point in the story, like, you know, she's like getting more sinister. So, I don't know what you're supposed to take away from that and like glean from it. Where you're supposed to be with her as a character, what her motives are. They're very muddled.
Yeah. And like some people might say, well, what's the problem with it being all of the above or none of the above, or the characters kind of, or the, you know, the audience is not privy to that information? I think it does matter once we get towards the end of the film, because the movie doesn't really do a good job of establishing, like you said, what is it really about the island that allures her? Is it that she knows how to live this way and she's feeling good about being able to live like this, and so she, you know, she's found a strong point in her life and she kind of likes that solitude? Or is it because she has a sort of like you know, interest in Bradley that is like, I'm you know, a lonely person at home and I feel like we could just live here together? I feel like there's a couple different scenarios where that doesn't play out very well, because I think at the end of the movie, Linda ends up coming off weaker than she really is supposed to seem. Because as the film introduces its major twist, and again, this is going to be a spoiler, you know, obviously we do spoilers in the podcast, but the major twist being that there's just a house, right next door, like, you know, 500 yards away, nice little giant, you know, Jeff Bezos style house on the shore. It kind of takes away from the survival elements that we've seen from Linda, because, hey, who knows? Maybe she's getting all this mango from the house, right? Like they're like obviously well stocked with fruits for some reason. Maybe she's just going into this house, taking out all of this stuff. We know she took the knife already. Like the knife that she said she found came from the house. So what's to say that the rest of her, you know, quote unquote survival skills really were survival skills at all, and she just was able to scrounge stuff from the house? It kind of makes her seem a little bit weaker. And then not only that, the idea that she wants to stay with Bradley, which seems more and more likely as the film goes on and towards the end of the movie, makes her seem just as stereotypical as the film starts out with, right? Because when we get to the island, we find out, hey, no, she's actually not like just some weak, meek person. She knows how to survive. But then towards the end, when she wants Bradley, it seems like, well, maybe she's just that stereotypical lonely woman who is looking for a mate no matter what type thing. And I don't think that plays out very well at the end of the movie. And like you said, the vagueness of it the way that the writers like really fail to establish an actual trait that it's following through with, I think it's a problem. I think it's done in the name of twists, but it ends up becoming frustrating and not really an interesting part of her character development. And then that's not even talking about the final part of the movie, which after she has this, run-in with Bradley where they basically maim each other and then ultimately she wins and gets off the island. She basically becomes what she disliked, a person, a woman in power who just plays golf, is rich, and lives on the coast, and was exactly the type of person that she did not like about Bradley. And the idea behind it is, I think, meant to be like, hey, look at this woman in power now. It's empowering. It's inspiring. But I don't think that, I didn't really take it that way. I found it just to be a
loop. It's the circle of asshole dumb and sociopath just
it
closes on itself.
And I don't know. There's again, the film ends with that sort of like little winking shot of Rachel McAdams driving away in her convertible, and I don't know. I feel like again the writing is really not clear on how even we should feel about these people. Like, are we supposed to like her after all of this? Are we supposed to dislike all of them? And that might in some ways be the case. Maybe we're supposed to dislike all of them. But I don't know. I found it to be off-putting instead of whatever it was supposed to do. Be inspiring or a powerful move by Linda. I don't. It didn't work for me. And I think if it doesn't work for you there, what do you think about Send Help as a whole? Like, if you don't dig the twist in the ending, do you think people will still find it entertaining?
Yeah, I think it's fine enough. I don't think the film is I don't think it's lack of at least for me, like total engagement with it as an idea. It doesn't hinder greatly though the film. It's just like a little film. Like, it is what it is. It's a survival thriller comedy. We saw this a couple days ago. We saw it on a Monday. It's Wednesday now. Usually when we do the movies, I at least watch them day of, so I'm living in the moment. And to be honest with you, in the 2 days leading up to this afterwards, I didn't put any thought. I wasn't walked away with any strange feelings. It's like a blockbuster. Yeah, you go, you see it, and you're like, that was nice, and then you move on with your day.
Yeah,
I think your enjoyment of the film is more going to come from what Sam Raimi brings as a director. And the thing, his style and his panache, I think that's what's either going to hook you in or not. Because if you're not a fan of that, you're going to be probably bored with the film. If you are, it's going to probably be entertaining just enough for you to be like, that was a film. I like that.
Yeah.
And then kind of just go about your day.
Yeah. Yeah. What else did we talk about? Things she wanted to cover.
You would have died on the island.
Oh yeah,
with all the fish
that you have to eat on an island. Yeah, I obviously would become accustomed to it because I would have to. But yes, I would certainly not be happy about having to eat fish most of my day.
You know what I love too is in films where they kill a boar or something and then they roast it over a fire. I just love the idea oh yeah, isn't that great? And it's that's going to take a day and a half. To get that thing cooked up to temp and the way they're eating it,
Yeah, it's true. It's like a gigantic leg of pork.
It takes all day to do a fucking weenie over a fire. It's like it's just funny to think like, so what are you doing to keep that thing roaring, keep it going?
Carving it up too with like just that one small knife. It's gonna be tough. Yeah. Again, I think the film does actually a pretty good job of showing survival techniques. Seems like there was actual research done into, what you would do in an island setting like this. So I'm not going to fault it. And, again, movies take liberties. But I think the film did a pretty good job of showcasing how to survive in some of these elements. My issue was more with how long it shows how to survive with this. I think it just goes on a little bit too long, and it takes a while to introduce the main choice or decision that Linda makes, which is when Bradley's fiance comes to the island, right? Because that's like the ultimate turning point. It's where it's like the place where you can't come back from. Is when she makes a decision where she's going to effectively she kills them, but she lets them fall off the cliff and decides that I'm not going back from this. And the other question that I had about this movie that doesn't make a whole lot of sense is, what's to stop Linda from just saying, all right, Bradley, you go, if truly that she just wants to live on this island. All right, Bradley, you go back. I'm staying here. No one's going to stop her. They're like, all right, crazy Linda, you want to stay? You stay. No one's going to stop. So again, I do think that idea of motive, we're coming back to that again. I think the idea of motive is really, it's so lost in what it really wants to do that it just never really comes together to give you a really good view of Linda as a person. It's highly problematic. And we talked about this a little bit off the show, but the writers of this movie, who really only ever write as a duo, Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, really the only other credits that they have to their name, Freddy vs. Jason, the Friday the 13th, 2009 remake, which you can go back and listen to our episode on that one, see how we felt about that. And what was the other one that they did? I forgot what it was now. Those were the two. Oh, and the Baywatch remake from 2017. So not a really illustrious bunch
your wife was right. This wasn't written by a woman.
Right. And you could definitely see that in a lot of ways. Like there's that one scene where stereotypical woman taking a shower, where Rachel McAdams finds like a waterfall. She's standing under it, like luxuriating, like caressing her body in a Herbal Essences commercial. Yeah. Stuff like that is standard.
She gets to do that, but Bradley's just going to the ocean with a rock and his dick out, and
yeah, you do get a little bit of a male rear nudity.
Yeah, a little bit of butt crack, but that's about it.
Something you don't get all the time.
Just do it. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have the ladies, granted, Rachel McAdams doesn't get naked in it, but still, just be like, normalize male dong, in your film, Don't make it an X. It's okay,
Yeah, I think too. So how do you feel about Raimi's direction here? Does this feel like a Raimi movie?
Yes, because of like the effects when it comes to like the gore and the blood and the gore of like how it's shot and looked, and it's over the top, and some of the times when they're sitting there when someone's laughing at stuff in the shots, the facial movements and look like a deadite, so it definitely feels like Sam was directing it.
There's that great scene where Rachel McAdams has like this hallucination where she thinks that Bradley's fiance is coming back from the dead, crawling out of the water, and it definitely looks like a sort of like a deadite moment there where she's draped in fog and sort of this dream sequence, and then a deadite kind of appears behind her before she wakes up. It's nice. It definitely feels like it's from Raimi. And it definitely feels like he felt like he needed to add a little bit more of his signature to the film. again, like you said, there are moments like the gore, the blood, some of the more discomforting moments, like a lot of the eating, right? Sort of like unappetizing, where they eat with their mouths open and sort of laugh at each other with their mouths open. Those sequences, I do think, feel like Raimi in that it's sort of uncomfortable and, intentionally so. But again, I could also see this being, without those things, so you get rid of those things. You could also see this being directed by just like any other person, right? Send Help is not really a movie that requires Raimi. I think Raimi adds some additions to it that make it a little bit more interesting than what another director might have done, which would have been to shoot the script, really, by the book. But I think that this movie could have been effectively very similar of a film without Raimi. And I don't know, that's not like necessarily supposed to be a critique on how Raimi directs this. It's more so just that I think that there is something very generic about Send Help. Something that I think we see quite a bit of, contemporary movies. They just have this very generic nature to them that makes them marketable.
We said that about the newest Evil Dead when that came out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, generic.
Yeah.
It's just generic horror fodder.
Yeah. Yeah. And we haven't talked about this. What do you think about the Danny Elfman score?
Whimsical.
Yeah, I kind of like it because it has this very classic orchestral style, swelling violins and such, that I think works kind of well in this, the overall atmosphere of the movie. But otherwise, like, it doesn't really feel like a Danny Elfman score. I will say that it's whimsical, but it's not like some of his other works where you can easily pinpoint like, hey, that's Danny Elfman. This one's kind of lacking that signature too.
If I were to guess, I would be more like, wow, is that Mark Mothersbaugh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It does its job. I don't think Danny's heart was probably into it. He's just got a contract and he's like, all right.
Yeah, could be. Could be. All right, so let's give Send Help a rating. On a scale of 0 to 10 spontaneous sushi smorgasbords, what do you give Send Help?
Never mind. I was going to say something about the sushi, but I'd get like a 7 out of 10. It's a film. It's just a very typical generic blockbuster style film. It's got its moments. It's got its ups and downs. Your level of engagement and enjoyment's going to be totally dependent on how well you're able to kind of just tune in, drop out, and enjoy the ride. I think it's good enough. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't even with all the problems that I was saying about the film. I don't think they're that big of a deal. It's not like it's The Usual Suspects where the whole crux is relying on that payoff and ideas and motives. So is it bullshit? Sure. Is it really bad though or hinder it? No. Rachel McAdams does a really good job. She's really charmingly stupid and funny. It's got just enough of Sam's touch to give scratch that itch. I think it's just a generic film. I won't probably ever really think of it ever again. Like I said, but 7 out of 10. If you like Sam Raimi, like I said, check it out. If not, go off what we said.
I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's it's entertaining enough. It's a fine way to spend some time. It even has some of Raimi's elements to it that you might find enjoyable. Or some of the callbacks. But not that many, really. Not as many as you might expect from Raimi. I will say that I think that overall the script is fairly weak, but I think Rachel McAdams and Damien O'Brien, they both do a pretty good job here. And, Rachel McAdams is, or I said Damien, Dylan O'Brien, I should say. They both do a pretty good job here. Rachel McAdams, is basically holding this together as one half of it and doing a really strong performance. With that said, I think that the movie, it kind of flags here and there. It's definitely too long. It could have cut out some of the survival elements to it, going back and forth between the two. It sort of feels a little bit redundant at times. And I think that it needed to do a better job of actually trying to give a little bit more character motivation to Rachel McAdams' character, because I think that that's really lacking towards the end, and it really muddles the conclusion to the point where you're not really exactly sure what message you're supposed to be taking from the finale. And I don't think that it necessarily comes off the way that the writers intended it to. So that can be problematic. I think this is a fine movie. As I came out of the movie and as I've been describing to other people who've asked me how it was, it's not bad. It's not great. It's just kind of like a fairly typical movie. And, I don't mind that I watched it. I probably won't watch it again, or I wouldn't have really any interest in rewatching this at a later time. But it was fine for what it was, and so that's why I'm giving it a 6.5. It's okay. It's definitely not a return to form for Raimi, but it's okay for what it is. It definitely feels like a blockbuster movie that was sort of like, I don't know, just given to Raimi, and he just kind of took it and maybe didn't have like a lot of resonance with it, but he did what he could. So it's okay. All right. So that's it for Send Help. I think next time, what do we got for next time? When do we decide?
I would like to do, in honor of the late Catherine O'Hara, A Mighty Wind.
Yeah.
You've never seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's a great movie. I think you'll love it.
All right. Yeah. We can do it. A Mighty Wind. 2003 movie?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. No, I've never seen it. It's got everybody that, it's a 1960s folk trio. Okay, a mockumentary sort of in the style of Spinal Tap sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
It's got written by Christopher Guest. It's got all the Parker Posey, all the people you would expect, from like Best in Show, so basically. So
Cool. All right, we'll check it out. So that'll be our next episode. All right. Well, thanks for listening to our episode. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know if you saw Send Help in theaters, and let us know what you thought of it. We are on pretty much any podcast apps you can think of. I don't think Google Podcasts exists anymore. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast, I'm sure we're on it. Subscribe, leave us a nice review. Always helps us out. We also have a Facebook and Blue Sky page. You can find us on there. Just search Blood and Black Rum Podcast. You can write to us on our email at bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what movies you want us to watch. And you can always donate to us on our Patreon page. Anything you donate goes back towards beer. So we appreciate that in advance. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you back next time for our episode on A Mighty Wind. Until then,
take care.